2 sleeps to a must win for the Texans. Will the Texans execute or will the season be executed? Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you here. It is S&L.
Okay.
Both
I like that.
Pretty beat up. Both teams pretty beat up. Let's jump right into the injury report, starting with the Houston Texans. So we know who's going to be out. Jalen Pitre, out. CJ Stroud, out. Fairbairn, out. Jakob Johnson, out. Christian Harris, always out. Ed Ingram, out. Titus Howard, out. So you have the whole right side of your offensive line, your quarterback, your nickelback, your kicker, who's pretty much your best player on offense, and a hell of a lot of questions for the Texans heading into this game, Cody.
Yeah, if you could go through and pick some of the most valuable and important pieces, they're missing some of them. I mean, 2 offensive linemen from an offensive line that's already a little questionable is tough. Obviously, the quarterback, we've known that for a few days now. And then how about bringing nobody to this game that scored last week? Like, no Kaimi. He's the only guy that scored last week. So no Kaimi for that one. And Pitre's adjustment, the adjustment with no Pitre is a full-on change of how they operate. At least with Davis Mills, you might be able to call some of the same plays. Maybe it doesn't change too much for the other 10 guys that are on the field, but they'd have to change the entire way they play defense with Jaylen Pitre out.
Yes, and I think that's what we're going to see. Now, I will say the Jags are kind of beat up too. They don't have any receivers. Travis Hunter's already done for the season. And now Brian Thomas Jr. will not be playing in this game either.
Yeah, so no Brian Thomas Jr., no Travis Hunter. They just got Jacoby Myers this week from the Raiders. So he's had a couple days to get acclimated. And then they're running out there Diami Brown and Parker Washington. So Brown will be the outside guy with Myers, and Washington will be their slot guy. They're also missing their blocking tight end, their left guard, and their slot cornerback, which Jordan Lewis is one of their better defenders. So not having him is pretty significant for them too.
Yeah, so they're beat up.
Little Christian Kirk game? Little Christian Kirk game? No, Christian.
Captain Kirk has arrived. I repeat, Captain Kirk has arrived.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that.
Yeah, Captain Kirk's spaceship got lost on the way to arrival.
Yeah, I would not bet on that. I don't know that we see much Jaylen Noel, and we'll see what happens with Nick Chubb and whether or not he plays too, and how much he plays and how long he can hold up. So it's an interesting layout, an interesting situation for the Texans heading into this game.
No injury designation for Nick Chubb on this one, so we'll see just how good that foot feels.
Yeah, we will. There's a few questions that we want to get into. I actually have something that's kind of going to provide a sad perspective on this Texans offense in a second. But let's start with the defense because, of course, I mean, it's a defensive-minded coach, defensive-minded team. What does this defense play like without Jalen Pitre?
They do not have a one-for-one replacement for Jalen Pitre. There's not anybody on this team that, Pitre's out, this guy does Pitre's job. So that's to me one of the most notable elements of this entire game. So anybody that they put there is really not a consistently practicing, consistently playing player at that position. So that's very much trying to force something that I don't believe is going to be there for them. Now, if they wanted to get very creative and play a different outside guy and move Kamari Lassiter in sometimes, they can do that, but I don't believe that's maximizing Kamari Lassiter because you could really shut down the outside with him and Derek Stingley. So we may see those 3 linebackers on the field together a lot more in this one, is my estimation.
Yeah, Speed, To'o, and Azeez Al-Shire. I think that's a possibility. I think we see a little bit more traditional defense. My question is this, though, when it comes to the defense. Can the Texans edge guys compete with the Jags edge guys? And by compete, I mean outcompete. Because Travon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen, they're not overly productive this year, but we know they're good. And it would be nice if what we've called often the best edge duo in the league, if they could be by far the best edge duo on Sunday. So, I mean, whenever you're banged up, whenever you have guys out, it would be really nice if the guys that you're invested in on the side of the ball that you trust the most, if they're able to elevate their play a little bit and perhaps gut out a win, very winnable game still, but figure that out and get it done. So that's really my question. I think they're probably facing a better offensive line than what the Texans are going to be throwing out there, but it would still be nice if these guys can get the best of that matchup. And I know some people will say, well, they're not on the field with those guys, but just outperform the guys on the other side that are on the edge.
Well, when you're missing key teammates on defense, who's going to step up on defense and take over and do what they do best? And look, Josh Hines-Allen was excellent in the first game between these two teams, and he had that key play at the end of the game where he affected C.J. Stroud's pass, and next thing you know, that thing's floating up in the air and it's intercepted and it's game over. So, can Danielle Hunter come home and get you something? Can Will Anderson take over and make up for the fact that Jaylen Pitre is not going to be available and they're going to have to change the way they play behind those two guys?
Yes. And these guys have gotten a sack in the same game once this year. It would be nice to at least for that to happen a second time. And I know the defense is still really good and, sacks aren't everything, blah, blah, blah. Get some sacks, sack the quarterback, make Trevor Lawrence's life tough. That's what they need to do. Period, point blank, end of story. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, affect and change the way the opposing team plays because you're so good at the edge.
Now, let's go to the other side of the rock. How will the backups hold up at right guard and right tackle? And furthermore, what will the offensive line look like?
My estimation is the left tackle, left guard, center stays the same. Ariante Ersery, left tackle. Laken Tomlinson not rotating at left guard. And Jake Andrews at center. Noed Ingram at right guard. Juice Scruggs was the fill-in in the game last week when Ingram was out. I would think Juice gets the crack at that. And then at right tackle, Blake Fisher was the fill-in the game last week when Titus was out. I would think he gets the look at that as well. And then I would guess that the backup tackle is Trent Brown.
So what do you make of the fact that the guys that they rotate are now going to be both starting if this line holds up?
Well, by the Texans' own admittance, both of them will be worse because they're at their best when they're rotating.
Yes, that's
so. Applying the logic that they explained, both players will be worse. Now, I don't think it's out of the question if Laken Tomlinson is performing poorly that Jared Patterson gets a crack at left guard in the game.
What if they rotate Tomlinson with Patterson now?
Then I just find myself in a moment where you just have to laugh to keep from crying. You just have to laugh at something as silly as that.
I don't think it's a crazy possibility, but
no, it's really not a crazy idea. You're right about that. It's really not.
Yeah, I feel like it's a strong possibility that could happen. That perhaps we maybe need to keep some sort of eye on for it. Let's go to the soup real quick here on S&L Friday edition. You ain't never hate. Swarm. Logan Taylor 6213. I see them using a spy for Lawrence since he has no receivers. Make them one-dimensional to force them to throw. Do you need a spy on Trevor Lawrence?
I mean, if you have the three linebackers on the field to slow down ETN, he's their best offensive weapon coming into this one. You probably don't need to officially just commit a guy to Trevor Lawrence. You just you let the linebackers go patrol and, maybe Aziz does Aziz things.
I do wonder I don't know what that means heading into a Jacksonville game. I don't know if Jags fans like hearing that. Yeah. I did hear, I think it was Sam and Steve talking about from the Check the Mic stuff. They said they think that there's going to be a lot of running back screens, kind of Ramsey from Cohen. Like they could see a lot of RB screens with their backs.
You see, that's I talked about this earlier this week. Even with Brian Thomas Jr., a missing guard, some of the challenges they've had on offense, like I still have a lot of respect for how Liam Cohen operates and what he could cobble together to punch and counterpunch what he's seeing on the field. Like he's shown an ability to adjust and change things. They were losing at halftime to the Raiders last week. They ended up scoring 27 points in the second half to win that football game. And the defense held on to keep the Raiders from converting a 2-point conversion at the end for the win. But like Cohen has cobbled together through challenges enough on offense a couple of times this year.
Yeah, I think it's a bad look if Cohen starts out 2-0 against DeMeco too. I don't know if DeMeco cares about that or if he keeps up with it, but I mean, you damn sure don't want the opposing guy to start out 2-0 against you.
No, not especially not when his specialty is the opposite of your specialty, and that's and
yeah, it's a head-to-head thing.
And we don't think super highly of the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. Like it's not like if Liam Cohen came in here with a fully loaded offense that we thought super highly of, like that's one thing, but he's coming in hobbled, missing one of his best players, and Trevor Lawrence is his quarterback. Like he should not be able to cobble together an offensive game plan to move the football and score points against you if you're a really good defensive mind.
Join S&L at Spanky Sharpstown 1 week from today. That's Friday the 14th and Friday the 21st, the day after the Buffalo game, for Football Friday happy hour. Fresh dough made from scratch daily, fresh sauce. Frank's doing it all. Frank's also looking pretty jacked, by the way. He is very muscular dude. It's a family-owned operation. Someone was asking us today, what's your favorite food there? I think we pretty much listed the whole menu.
Yeah.
So I am very excited to be back out there.
I said, what do you guys like besides the pizza? Everything.
Wings, pasta,
Tater cakes, fried mushrooms,
nachos, everything. So
yeah,
that was our answer to that question.
Yeah, first of 2 back-to-back at Spanky's next Friday. So be there, put it in your calendar. We'll be there at 3. We're live at 4, and we're hanging out till after.
HDAV Traveler on the chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Landry, you going for the John McClane look? No, I'm not. I'm not going for the John McClane look. Poor guy, still hadn't gotten his Twitter.
Oh.
I tried so hard to help him. Time was money on that. He didn't take it. Time was money on that. I think John McClane might have lost Twitter, which is a damn shame.
Got to rebuild all those.
It's not going to happen.
All those followers. And
there's a lot of people now that are like, thank God I didn't want to unfollow him. All he does is retweet all day. Now I can just act like I don't know.
Well, you can turn off somebody else's what they retweet.
Not everybody knows that though. It's actually kind of surprising how few people know that.
Yeah, if you don't know, you can customize when you follow someone, you can turn off seeing their retweets.
If only you could turn off seeing all their waiver wire things.
Hey, bro, Alpha Aaron here.
If you could only subscribe to the Texans content and not get like all the waiver wire things. Someone said they got the wings last time and they were great. Shout out to them. Little spice to it, like it. All right, so I'm about to blow your mind a little bit, I think.
Okay.
So this is kind of a shocking reality about the Texans that I don't think gets enough attention, and I think it's one of their biggest problems. It's been brought up, but it doesn't get mentioned nearly as much as I think it should. So I'm going to set this up this way. Like if I asked you to describe one word, use one word to describe Brian Thomas's, who's not going to play Sunday, but describe his 2025 season thus far, what would you say? Like what word would you use?
Massive disappointment.
So that's 2. So massive disappointment. You went the extra mile to emphasize how disappointing Brian Thomas Jr. has been, right?
Yeah, he was one of the more impressive and explosive wide receivers in football last year. I know fantasy's not everything, but most people believed he was a top 20
receiving at stats. Like it's kind of easy in fantasy.
Top 20 fantasy football player in almost everyone's eyes. Yeah, I mean it's been a disappointment this year.
Okay, and a lot of people talk about his drops and all that, and Brian Thomas kind of scared, whatever, right?
He looks like he's worried to go over the middle. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to pull this up, and I'm warning you. You kind of have an idea about this, but when you look at the visual, it's going to be like, oh, damn. So I'm going to pull up Brian Thomas Jr. and Nico Collins here, side by side, courtesy of Fantasy Pros. And you mentioned fantasy. Brian Thomas is wide receiver 39. Nico Collins is wide receiver 35. Nico's 29th in fantasy points. Brian Thomas is 43rd. Now we look at the receptions. 33-30 in Nico's favor. Targets, 57-60. So all this talk about drops, Nico Collins has 3 less targets and he has 3 more catches. So it's not like that crazy. Yards per reception, Brian Thomas 14, Nico 14. 12.5 to 14. Long, 50, 46. 20 plus. Nico 10, Brian Thomas 11 touchdowns. Nico has 3, Brian Thomas has 1. Obviously, Nico's having a better season, but it's really not that far off. So, like, for all this talk about red zone and, get this guy involved and Jaylen Noel needs to play more, how about just kind of maybe figuring out how to make your best player produce like one of the better receivers in the league instead of producing like a guy who we would describe as a massive disappointment this year? I think that's, we talk a lot, or DeMeco's talked about simple and all that. Like, let's just make this very simple. Get Nico Collins ball and let Nico Collins ball out. We never at any point, as bad as things got with Bobby Slowick, Tank Dell fell off. Like, Tank Dell fell off before he got hurt. Mm-hmm. But we never felt like Nico Collins wasn't going to go out there and do anything other than fucking ball, regardless of what the offense looked like. And about over halfway through the season, or nearly halfway through the season, he's looks more like someone who's one of the more disappointing receivers in the league production-wise as compared to a guy who's one of the best in the league. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just saying that's the reality of the production.
Yeah, but comparing what Nico has accomplished to what you expected out of Nico Collins, it's a disappointment. Now, how you explain it however you need to explain it, but it's been a disappointing performance from Nico Collins with the Texans this year. It just the hilarity or irony or whatever word you want to insert into that spot, when they were getting Nico Collins the ball last week, they got down into that dreaded red zone, getting him the ball. You know what happened when they didn't get him the ball in the second half? They only got a handful of first downs. Okay? It was awful in the second half. They basically had mostly 3 and outs. So they weren't getting the ball to Nico Collins in the second half, and they weren't moving the ball. Well, they were getting the ball to Nico in the first half, and they were moving the ball. It's kind of novel how that works, right?
Yeah. And I think it's really just something that they need to figure out. And maybe Davis Mills force feeds him or whatever. Stacy Lincoln says, if the Texans lose this, do we lose some and win some and look forward to the draft? We do have Washington's 2nd round pick, and it might be high. I mean, yeah, we cover the team and we see what happens. I don't like, they're not going to bottom out. I don't think they could though. I mean, they could very well start to bottom out if they lose this game, but yeah, your slim playoff hopes die if you lose this game against the Jags. We're not going to sugarcoat that. We're not going to rewrite history on that.
Yeah, you would have to you'd have to flip more than a handful of games on your schedule that if you lose this game to the Jaguars, you'd go ahead and expect, the Bills, the Colts twice, the Chiefs game, you'd expect those to all be losses. So you'd have to flip probably 3 of those 4, or at least 2 of those 4 in your favor to even climb back into a thought about the playoffs. And if you lose to the Jaguars, I just don't know how
you're 4 games back of the Jags.
I just don't know how you can even think about it if you lose to the Jaguars.
No, if you lose to the Jags, the target is probably 10. Only one team that won 10 last year didn't make the playoffs. The target is 10. There's probably exceptions where 9 wins can get you in, but let's say it holds up and it's 10. Then you're going to be 3-6. So you're going to have to finish the season 7-1. That's not happening. Like
Yes, not for a 3-6 football team.
no, and not for this 3-6 football team. So that's not happening.
But Landry.
Stop.
All right. You didn't want to hear my idea? All right, that's fine.
No, I didn't.
But Joe Mixon.
All right. On that note, let's talk about TDECU, the greatness that is TDECU. Cody, you're a customer. Tell them how great life is as a TDECU customer.
Always there for you, even if sometimes the running back isn't there for you. Get your TDECU Texans debit card, 15% off the online team store with that TDECU Texans debit card. You can learn all the information you need to about that card and all the various perks that card specifically presents you at tdecu.org/Texans, and then all the other various perks that come with being a member at TDECU. Now, membership's required and you're insured by the NCUA when you're putting your money with TDECU, but tons of perks. They make the money work better for you than other places that you've put your money. Various checking account options, various saving account options. They are a credit union. They operate differently than your traditional places to put your money. They want to take care of you. Your credit union is not just a slogan. They mean it. They will be working for you constantly, always to give you the best in service when it comes to placing your money somewhere. Our friends at TDECU, you can trust them as we do.
There you go. Shout out to TDECU, the greatness that is. Membership required, insured by NCUA. It would be nice to see DeMeco get Nico Collins involved. But here's my question about DeMeco. And I thought about this just based on hearing some of the stuff he said this week. Because he kind of talked out of both ends when it comes to the poor play in the red zone. On one hand, he talked about changing and we need to change and look at all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But he also couldn't help going meathead and kind of talking about will and technique and pushing about guy back 1 yard and all that type of stuff. So my question is this. We know Nick Caley has been awful. Nick. But we also saw Bobby Slowick kind of fall off. My question is DeMeco a hurdle or asset for this offense? But like is when it comes to being an offensive coordinator or when it comes to being an employee? Because basically Nick Caley is an employee of DeMeco Ryans, right? Like in some way, shape, or form, he's an employee of DeMeco Ryans.
DeMeco's his boss.
Okay. Like sometimes your boss makes your job easier and sometimes your boss makes your job more difficult. And sometimes your boss just stays the hell out of the way and it's all up to you. There's different styles. I don't think the only wrong one is if your boss makes your job more difficult and it doesn't benefit you. Do you think DeMeco is a hurdle or an asset for the offense?
Well, I have a hard time calling him an asset because I would think if he could,
it's DeMeco.
If he could affect change in a grand positive way for this offense, I would have thought that he would have already accomplished that. He would have already done that. So it's hard for me to say that he's an asset. Now, I have a hard time calling him a hurdle too, because his side of the football kind of keeps them in games, gives whatever crappy offense they have a chance. So I have a hard time calling him a hurdle, but I can't call him an asset either. So I would think, if he's helping out on the offense and they're not getting going, it leans more towards hurdle than asset.
Yeah, I think he's a hurdle. I think the hesitations about defensive-minded coaches are kind of playing out. And I'll be honest, I wasn't one of those people. I'm just respecting the other side of the argument as the process has kind of played out. And each year the offense has gotten worse. So I was a DeMeco guy. I didn't care about the offensive-minded guy. But I will say it is very apparent. And when you hear him say stuff like, our guys just got to be able to beat their guys, I get what you're saying as far as the defense. And I know the defense is good. And I know there's been instances where he's coached guys up. But it's a hell of a lot easier to say, hey, Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter, Daniil Hunter, and Will Anderson, go beat your guy and show me that will and that technique. It's much different when you're talking about Titus Howard, Ariante Ersery, Laken Tomlinson, and some of these guys that are being asked on offense. So while I agree with you that the defense can help the offense, I also think the assets have kind of gone towards what DeMeco likes. So like when you're also talking about performance and you're talking about bosses and you're talking about working underneath guys, the budget does matter. And if he's just investing the budget on what his strength is, then yeah, it's going to be good. And maybe you can overcome a weak offense, but it's also would be nice if you could kind of sprinkle that out a little bit. So that's the thing that I kind of struggle with, Cody.
Well, it's not like he's the defensive coordinator and they just built this offense without him watching either. Like he co-signed everything that happened. Like it all happens under him. If he wanted more spending on the offense, like he could have had it. So if he's, that's the other thing is like they keep talking about technique and willpower and toughness and all that goes into talent. More talented players have more of that. They have more technique and better technique. They have more willpower and better willpower. They are tougher. They don't miss as many games. Like typically more talented players have all those things that you're asking these untalented players to have. And then the players, in addition to this, which again, he's in charge of because he's the head coach and what he says goes, the players that we believe have a lot of the talent on offense don't see the field.
All right. And here's another thing. So like if we took on defense and let's say we'll take Sheldon Rankins and DeMeco Collins.
Okay.
The equivalent of how they can perform on defense would make them the blank best offensive lineman on the Texans. So the equivalent of player that Sheldon Rankins is on defense would make him the blank offensive lineman on the Texans.
Maybe the best. Like who's reliable on this offensive line for the Texans right now? Like consistently reliable every week. Sheldon Rankins is consistently reliable every week.
So like I would say at least top 2, top 3 for sure.
Yeah, like, I mean, Ersery's played every game.
Yeah, and his upside, like the Ersery upside, I feel like his struggles, he's getting better. Like Laken Tomlinson, Titus, like none of these other guys, maybe Ingram, have close to the ceiling that he's going through.
Correct. Yeah, the end game for Ariante Ersery is higher than everybody else on the offensive line, and he's been one of the more consistent players on the line. So Rankins, the offensive line version of Rankins is the second or the best offensive lineman on the offensive line if you flipped him into an offensive lineman.
I mean, I don't disagree with you at all. Not even a little bit.
But hey, those guys that they have, they just got to try harder and technique better.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Logan Taylor 6213 says there's reports Stover could return in a few weeks. He said few weeks. He means few.
Yeah. Got to evaluate him when he gets back. Find out if he's worth keeping around next year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a 4th round pick that's gotten hurt 2 times and has barely played the tight end position at the NFL level.
Speaking of Ariante Ersery, how will he handle his revenge matchup?
Rematch time, Ersery.
He had a black eye last time these teams played, I believe. Or was that a different game?
I think that was that game. I think that was by the end of it. He had, and then that following week he had that black eye. Look, he admitted it the week after. He wasn't focused enough at the end of the game, and that's why he felt like Josh Hines-Allen got to C.J. Stroud, hit Stroud, and forced the bad pass that led to an interception. And he had some really bad moments in that Jacksonville game, and he gets an opportunity to go right back at that very same guy in this matchup. I hope to see some growth, and I hope to see him go out there and have a pretty darn good performance against a group that really – they haven't gotten very many sacks this year. They sacked the Browns or the Bengals 3 times earlier this year. That's their season high. Everything else has been 2 or less. They've gone some games where the Jaguars haven't sacked the opposing quarterback. So it's a talented edge duo for sure. But is Ersery going to be able to keep Davis Mills clean in his rematch with Josh Hines-Allen?
The other side is probably what you need to worry just as much about. Because, I mean, I feel like the
Trevon Walker versus Blake Fisher.
Yeah, the amusing Blake Fisher is reporting and stuff like that we had fun with. maybe it made him a better player and gave him some confidence, but we don't forget this guy was the worst tackle in camp, arguably. So now suddenly he's going against these two guys that we've been talking about, or one of them. So that is a little bit concerning, and it almost feels like it's been kind of out of sight, out of mind, just how bad he looked before it kind of became one of our favorite bits.
This is a game where, look, the spotlight's on the helmets. Go out there, do your job, perform well, don't stink. But if they do, then all of a sudden you kind of hit that spotlight up into the box, and it's like, oh, who put these guys on the team? Oh, second round pick on Juice Scruggs. Oh, second round pick on Blake Fisher. Oh, which, by the way, they're both probably failed draft picks, and at this point anyway. Like, Blake Fisher couldn't even start in his second season. They had a rookie come in and start right away. Fisher can't even start in his second year, and Scruggs barely made the team. So they're already failed draft picks, but it will just continue to spotlight more how much of a failed draft pick they were by Nick Caserio.
No, at this point, you've kind of adjusted the expectations for him, and it's like, can they be average backups to where the game just doesn't completely go to shit when they play? And I think it's appropriate that they're going to be, most likely, we assume, shoulder to shoulder in a game that you need to win to keep your season alive. So if Blake Fisher gives up a couple sacks but hangs in there at probably, I don't know, more than when he doesn't, then that's what my expectations are. My thoughts, and I know it's hard for people to adjust, but my notion that, oh my God, this is a second round draft pick with Blake Fisher is just left. Like, it's just can he be a serviceable backup and a guy who they bring in tackle eligible how many ever times they effing want to do it? That's where I'm at with it. Because some people are going to watch this game and be, oh my God, they used a second round pick on this guy. Spoiler alert, he's going to look terrible at times. But I just want him to look like a average to meh backup offensive lineman. That's where I'm at. And yes, that does make him a failed draft pick. I do agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is why you're on the roster, Blake, is for this spot. Is the first guy can't go, and they don't have another backup option, and so they got to go with you. That's why you're on the roster.
On the soup, Stacy Lincoln asks,
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
wouldn't another new to OC worry you? And it says, I'm assuming that's supposed to say McCown.
Mm-hmm. McCown, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Josh McCown all day for me. I don't care if he hasn't called plays or not. I guarantee he can put a coaching staff together. He actually has some phone numbers. You're damn sure not bringing back the same staff, the same offensive staff. He has friends. So, and people that he knows around the league.
Hold on. Nick Caley brought his friends. He brought Jerry over from LA, and they promoted Cole.
Okay. Well, Josh McCown has guys that can coach, that he can put together a staff in a matter of, at the snap of a finger.
How many of Josh McCown's friends, though, coached or went to John Carroll? How many of Josh McCown's friends coached in New England? Because that's what Nick Caserio would like to know.
Let's get the hell out of here, out of this topic. What do you expect from the quarterback, Davis Mills? The neck and Nick combo. Davis Mills, Nick Caley, neck and Nick.
DeMeco Ryans talked about Davis Mills and where he's seen growth. And one of the things he talked about was protects the football better. And it's worth noting Davis really didn't play any games of note in the 2 years. Like, it's like he came in the Browns game when Keenum got his head bashed in. Or whatever.
I will say this though, Cody, and I'm being 100% serious. This is not me being trite, so don't roll your eyes.
We in here talking about practice.
He did start turning the ball over less in practice.
Sure.
He had a good training camp. He did do that.
They act like he's freaking peak poor Carson Wentz when he was out there, 2 years ago. And
He kind of was.
certainly he had some shortcomings, and that's why they went with Case Keenum and thought they couldn't survive if Davis was turning the ball over against the Titans 2 years ago. It has looked better, and it has looked better in camp, and there were times in camp this year, and that's all we really have to go off of. There were times in camp this year where he looked really good. He obviously threw the ball a lot to Jaylen Noel and Jaden Higgins. If they get the opportunity to step on the football field and play, hopefully he's got a deeper relationship and connection with them than we've seen. So I expect him to take appropriate risks. Like, I'm not expecting to be some sort of gunslinger back there just dropping dimes all over the field, but get the ball out of your hands. This is a weak offensive line setup. Get it out. Get it to whoever's out there. Hopefully it's the rookies, and don't screw it up.
I saw today when we were walking back at practice, I saw a birthday cake being wheeled into Nick Caley's office. He is having a hell of a week, dude. This is fun for him. He's enjoying. I'm telling you. Nick Caley is enjoying his time with Davis Mills. This is the most fun he's had coaching maybe his whole career. He lights up talking about Davis Mills. I think this is going to be a special bromance. I think this is just what the doctor ordered for Nick Caley. They walk on eggshells sometimes when it comes to critique, but you can sometimes read between the lines when it comes to perhaps the quarterback making the offensive line better and perhaps getting out of the huddle. I thought it was interesting when I asked DeMeco about Cohen. He talked about how Trevor Lawrence sees things and checks out of things. That I don't know if you caught that. That was an interesting little notion. I feel like Nick Caley's having a hell of a time right now. Like he is basically on like a 7-day cruise on the Mediterranean. This is the most fun that he's had all year long.
There absolutely exists a situation where their stock offense fits Davis Mills better than the stock offense fits CJ Stroud. It's like their rules and the basics and all that. There's absolutely a scenario where they feel like it fits Davis Mills better than CJ Stroud. And then the layers that they add on maybe fit Stroud better.
Think about this. This is the system that Nick Caserio drafted Davis Mills to. Or no. Yeah. This is the system that they drafted him to be in.
With Tim Kelly.
Tim Kelly was running the same offense. Mm-hmm. So this is their vision, man. I'm telling you. I'm not sitting here and saying that.
Well, we were told too that the Patriots were very interested in Davis Mills if the Texans had not taken him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, Nick Caley's having a fun time right now, man. My gosh. I had someone say to me that the thing that bothers him the most about Nick Caley is that hat.
He needs to get a new one.
They say they can't take a grown man serious who wears that hat.
It's like what is it?
It's definitely not good luck.
In Bull Durham, when he talks about the shower shoes, it's like, yeah, when you're good, people think you're quirky. When you're bad, people think you're sloppy.
Yeah, the hat it's an interesting choice by Nick Caley.
They do laundry in the building. Like the players don't wear the same practice jersey. The players don't have to take it home and wash it. Like they do the laundry. All he's got to do is just right over into the laundry bin.
I'm surprised he made it out of Seattle. That was my biggest shocker. He said he was superstitious and
then he didn't, and then sometimes he didn't wear a hat on the sidelines.
Is it a fair question to ask him if he's thought about going up into the booth? Since it was something that he was contemplating in the season? Like, has there ever been a moment where he's thought, you know what, maybe the booth is for me?
I would think it's easier to call a half in the booth, hate it, and go to the sideline than to make a change in the middle of the game.
I think he should rotate like the guards, because if the guards are better when they rotate, I think, I'm being serious, that they closed the elevator for him. I think he should call. I think depending on the coin toss, he should call the first quarter either in the booth or on the field, and then rotate up till the end of the game. No, rotate till the third, and then whichever one you're feeling the most comfortable at in the moment, do that in the fourth. I think he should rotate. I'm serious. I think he should just run to the elevator that they have in the press box where we see the coaches, and I think he should rotate between booth and field. What's wrong with that? It's a different formation, man. Like we're running different formations out there. You're not getting it done. Like we've seen Kyle Tucker wear batting gloves for like 2 weeks and then take the batting gloves off. Let's see Nick Caley in the booth for a quarter, on the field for a quarter, in the booth for a quarter, and then on the field for a quarter. Fill it out like Kyle Tucker's batting gloves. Was Kyle Tucker good at baseball? Yes. He was. If you're asking them to mix up the formations, let's mix up the angles, man. Come on. I think this could be revolutionary. I'm trying to evolve. Didn't DeMeco say he wants this offense to evolve? I just gave you a perfect plan. Commercial break, run, up, down, boom.
It's evolved into madness.
Oh, it's a good idea. And we could have the Caley cam. Social media could have the Caley cam where they follow him up the elevator, and then he goes up, and then they follow him, and when he goes in the box, the door shuts.
I hate this. If they score just 5 or 4 more touchdowns than they have, 1, they'd basically double their touchdown total almost, and 2, we wouldn't have to talk about where the coordinator calls the game from. You're getting fired if we have to discuss where you should call the game from week 8.
What do you mean? We're trying to change things. Sometimes you have to change things in sports. Coaches, I was going on this rant the other day. I just posted the video on the locker room. I pulled it from last night's stream. NFL coaches are hilarious because they're like the most entitled group of people in a profession that actually does stuff right in professional sports. Like I like the way the NFL handles contracts. If you negotiate a guaranteed contract, more power to you. Good for you. Good negotiations. Can't be mad at that. But a large portion of NFL contracts aren't guaranteed. And just like most people, you're not guaranteed your money. You have to actually work to earn that money. You're still going to be rich, but you actually have to earn it. It's not like baseball and basketball. Why are coaches' contracts guaranteed? I think it's just funny that in a sport where they're not guaranteed, which I think is the right way to do it, unless negotiated, why is it that all these coaches are getting paid and their contracts are guaranteed? And then they go up there and they say, we got to execute. And they're basically just saying they got to do what we say under the assumption that everything they do is just so effing perfect. Coaching bits are starting to annoy me, Cody.
I couldn't tell.
Do you disagree? Like, am I wrong?
All this stuff would be quirky if they were winning.
No, I want to rotate from booth to field. I'm being serious.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to have that conversation.
Just keep doing what you're doing. All right. They just got to figure it out.
You ain't never hate.
I'm sitting here giving some ideas, and you just want to keep it going. Square peg, round hole.
Oh, now you know how it feels sometimes.
Wag says, I've been asking Caley to go in the booth since week 1. Yeah. And I just want him to rotate. I want a rotation. The guards rotate. Why don't you rotate from booth to field?
Why don't you rotate play callers?
Why not? Who's the other guy going to be, though?
Well, let them all have a quarter. Let Caley start, and then Gerard Johnson call the second, and then Bill Lazor call the third, and Ben McDaniels call the fourth.
Doyle says for the lulz.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever the hell that means.
Talking about the rotation, like it'd be laughable.
Oh no, I think it'd be productive. Dogle 18 says who could be the new swing tackle with Titus out?
I expect that it will be Trent Brown. The other possibility would be Jarrett Kensington.
Trent Brown, huh?
Oh, Doyle did that for the for the profile picture.
Oh, okay.
It's a little square peg round hole in case anybody didn't see it.
I see.
Little square peg round hole.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you say Trent Brown's going to play, huh?
No, I didn't say that.
You think he's the backup this week?
I believe Trent Brown will be the swing tackle for the Houston Texans Sunday when they play the Jacksonville Jaguars.
By the way, someone agreed with me today when we were talking about Trent Brown that they don't think he would be able to play a game right now.
Okay. I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you. I guess we'll find out Sunday when inactives come out.
If he's inactive Sunday, then will you at least kind of open your mind to the possibility that maybe he can't play a football game?
No, I'm not opening my mind. I'm changing my mind, and I'm asking why he's on the freaking roster. I don't know. I just don't understand.
I don't get it. I mean,
even on good teams, there's still like teams still waste like 2-3 roster spots on guys that like can't get on the football field when you have to get them on the football field. If he can't be the swing tackle when you need a swing tackle, then why is he on the roster?
Because you ready?
Because he played for the fucking Patriots. That's why he's on the roster.
Ding, 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 ding. Good job, Cody. Will Jaylen Noel play more than anyone? Will Jaylen Noel have the least amount of offensive snaps again?
It's certainly trending that way. They went up there and told us this week that was the plan, to have the most explosive player from the previous 2 games not on the field and not throwing the football. So why would they change it now? It just sickens me the way they're treating Jaylen Noel.
Well, he's got to be better with his combat. His hand combat is what he said. He didn't make that up. I mean, that is a dorky ass coaching term if I've ever heard it. He said, I got to work on my hand combat in the blocking. Like that's definitely something he's being told.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I know. You know what I know? I don't give a crap what kind of hand combat he has because he gets open, which is something Christian Kirk does not do.
This is a good question by you. What drive will the Texans convert their first third down?
They currently have failed to convert 9 consecutive third downs. They went 3 for 17 in the game. They converted 1 with Davis Mills in the second quarter. And then the next 9 third downs after that converted one, they failed the conversion. I believe it will be on the third drive of the game.
I think the first.
You think they're going to get to third and something, and they're going to convert it on the first drive?
Yes.
I like your optimism.
Neck and neck, man. They're having a great time right now.
Well, if they're that good, they may not see a third down.
They're having a great time right now.
Let's go first and second down all the way down the field.
That's where they're at. They're having an excellent time right now.
Would you say it's an excellent time?
No, I wouldn't say that. But you can.
No, that's fine. You just make all the jokes, have all the ideas. That's fine.
No, you asked if I would say it. I said I would not, but
no,
I'm not judging. You can do whatever. So I feel like you're leaning towards a loss here. I'm kind of sensing your energy.
This feels like the 49ers game on hard mode. because the Jaguars have a lot of the unimpressive elements that allowed the Texans to be successful in the game against the 49ers. They can't rush the passer consistently. The 49ers couldn't rush the passer consistently. Their blocking is fine, but not great, to the point where they can keep their guy clean and not have it affect their quarterback situation. They're missing key offensive players. They're missing key defensive players. Even with those guys, like the guys they have are lightly talented at best that are available. They've got an offensive-minded coach. The Texans have a couple of more challenges than what they had in the 49ers game, obviously. But it just feels to me like it's very much the 49ers game on hard mode. Like, no starting quarterback, no Kaimi, couple of missing offensive linemen. Okay, that makes it a little bit harder for you to score points. But all the issues that the 49ers had, like the Jaguars have similar levels of issues coming into this game.
So you think?
So I think what? What are you asking me?
So you're leaning Jags?
No, I'm leaning the Texans right now.
Okay, so you got there.
Yes.
Okay, so you got there. Okay.
Yes, because I don't believe in Trevor Lawrence. I don't believe they're going to keep Trevor Lawrence clean enough for him to do good things. And I don't believe they're going to disrupt Davis Mills enough to the point where they can keep the Texans from putting points on the board.
Yeah, I'm leaning Texans. I was leaning Broncos last week heavily. I'm leaning Texans because I think this is a bit staff, and I think it's much easier when your backs are against the wall for a bit staff's message to get through. I think sometimes it's kind of annoying and it's unrealistic, but I think the bit staff kind of thrives in these types of situations. I'm also with you. Trevor Lawrence has no one to throw to, and the Texans defense is still really, really good. And I also think you're kind of forced to play around your strengths when a lot of your strengths are missing. So if you have any competence, so I'm not going to sit here and act like Nick Caley is going to suddenly look like Sean McVay, but I do think he likes working with Davis Mills. I do think that Davis Mills probably does some of the things that frustrate them that CJ Stroud does not do. I do think Davis Mills does a decent job getting rid of the ball. And that's why I think the Texans win this game. And I think it's going to be ass ugly, but I think they get it done because Trevor Lawrence is not good. And Trevor Lawrence, his weapons are out. So what is Trevor Lawrence going to do? And the other thing is, like, what is the alternative for not having guys to throw to? You run the ball. Texans, you're not going to run the ball on them. Like, it's not going to be, you're not going to consistently run the ball on them throughout this whole thing. So I think the Texans win this game.
Yeah, the Mac Jones walked in here with a better offensive setup than Trevor Lawrence and couldn't win the football game. So I just don't know how the Jaguars come in here with a lesser offensive setup and beat the Texans. I don't see it.
Yep. That's where I'm going. I'm going with the Texans, and could be famous last words, but that's where I'm going.
If they lose Sunday, they have to fire somebody Monday. I don't care who it is. Fire someone. I don't care if it's Bill Lazor. I don't care if it's Jarrod Johnson. I don't care if it's Ben McDaniels. I don't care if it's the assistant offensive line coach. I don't care if it's Cole Popovich. I don't care if it's Danny Barrett. I don't care if it's Jake Moreland. I don't care if it's someone on the defensive staff. You got to fire somebody Monday. If you lose Sunday, you got to fire somebody Monday.
So if they lose, someone has to get fired.
Yeah, that's just how I feel about it.
Okay.
But if they win, everybody gets to keep their job.
Interesting. See how this thing goes. I'm looking forward to it. I know you're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to seeing you at Spanky's next Friday and the Friday after that. Very pumped about that. Shout out to Spanky. Shout out to everyone who comes out there. And I mean, we cover the squad no matter what, and we're all in this together. So that's where we go. I am surprised Cody arrived at picking the Texans, but hey, sometimes it'd be like that.
Well, we could talk all week about how poor the Texans have played, and then look over at the other team and realize it's the Jacksonville freaking Jaguars, and then realize, hey, you don't have it that bad.
Yeah, I mean, you are a 1.5 point dog, so there you go. Bet it all on the Texans. You heard it here first from Cody Stutes.
I didn't say that. Don't do that.
Subscribe, like, ride along. Always remember, when Cody's giving you betting advice, we're all in it together.
You might want to run the other way. Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Do that one more time. That was terrible.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right, there you go.